Hey, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. This is as clear as it gets. This is as clear as it gets. Here's a verse we've all heard, and I'm going to read it first the way most of us will see it in the Bibles and take it back. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do we have more knowledge and understanding of the scriptures today than when they were translated? The King James was translated over 600 years ago. It began to be translated in the 1400s. Okay, and what we have in our hands is a translation, and they did a good job. And I know for a fact God knew exactly what was going to happen, and I do believe His Word has been preserved perfectly, not only through the revealing of the truth through His Holy Spirit in nature and the way everything's made and all that, but also through the original writings of the apostles and prophets who were inspired by the Holy Spirit. So let's get that straight. I do believe that firmly. But we live in Babylon where the languages were confused. So we haven't got a full understanding, but we will now. We'll get a much better, more clear understanding now that knowledge has increased. So here we go. I'm going to read this verse. It's Revelations 9, verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Okay, there's that. So now let's take every word back to its origin using the Strongs and the lexicons. All right? And this is the way we need to study. We need to be good brains. Okay, Revelation 9:6. Indeed, in a fixed position in time and place, giving yourself wholly to the outwardly, while within a point that is reached and entered into, right now, backwards to perish, therefore, out of the heavenly place from above. Those in that yonder place, these same men and women in all their inflections, that means straying from the straight and narrow way, from the path. They are omitted the definite article. They are backward through the idea of the baffling wind. That is Satan. They are of his own. By their own conceit, that's excessive pride in their own knowledge and understanding. Okay, in the day of darkness, the last day of this present age, to reckon both parts. Okay, in the other day in a video I said, I know a reckoning's coming. I had no idea this word was going to be in the Strongs or, this is God confirming His own word through the gift of His Holy Spirit. There's no doubt about it. Okay, to reckon both parts, because we're in a state of division here. You can clearly see it, a duality, good and evil, light and darkness indwell this same flesh. Well, our soul has been covered over by this darkness of this flesh. Okay, there's two different species here in this world. There's an original Satan and the angels that purposely left. There was an insurrection, and then what God did to correct the situation in Genesis 2, because He knew His children would be led astray by Satan, who was the first liar, right? He knew it, so He corrected the situation in Genesis 2 by putting His representative here in Adam. Understand that. The man that was created in Genesis 1, the word Adam means man, but He actually named Adam in Genesis 2. J.K. did a great job describing that. So anyways, immovable, okay, both parts. So to reckon both parts by the light of judgment at a definite moment in time that is immovable. To include all individuals that are from God and Christ, and of the angels that were led into a mistake by their weakness and prompted to sin, having a body and a soul by the twofold nature of man, the corrupt man and a true believer, conformed to the nature of God, to show themselves physically, to see with the eyes and become acquainted with myself, to become acquainted with Christ. By experience, voluntarily, they did this of our own free will, to clearly discern mentally, seeking to worship God, plotting or plotting against life, searching for something that is hidden by the death of the body, conceived in the abode of the dead. That's this world. We're all called the walking dead. Until you're born again, You're a Gentile. You're an idol worshiper. You are dead to Christ. You are separated spiritually from him. And God is spirit, and he must be worshipped in spirit. And these next few verses, he's just pouring it out now more than ever, so I know we're super close. Each verse that he puts out through me is going to make things just so much more clear, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He's totally revealing the truth. Okay, so they're searching for something that's hidden by the death of the body, conceived in the abode of the dead, being very dark, enveloped. They're enveloped in darkness of ignorance and sin by the loss of life that came from above, right? They are in misery arising from sin. They are in misery arising from sin of the soul, which begins on earth. So the misery of the soul begins on earth, but the soul was already formed and made by God. We are all children of the Most High, Psalms 82:6. But you have fallen. Understand what that means. In the word for gods, you are all gods, is Elohim. You are all Elohim, children of the Most High. But you have fallen. Understand that. Understand that. Arising from sin of the soul, which begins on earth. So this misery begins on earth of the soul. By a loss of life that was consecrated to God, having been made and declared sacred, followed by wretchedness in hell, to be spiritually dead. Also, likewise then, to fall in with those who come to a place to understand and learn, to gain the knowledge of good and evil, by experience, to show oneself out of one's character, to gain knowledge of God, by obtaining an imperfect form, that cannot gain knowledge of God. This imperfect form being birthed into this body cannot obtain the knowledge of God. Okay, so an imperfect form that God forbid, he forbid this. Okay, to fall in with, to learn from those that are backwards by their own pride, by their own conceit. Therefore, lusting after those things that are forbidden, by touching with passion of inflaming wine that drives a drinker mad by its fierceness of indignation. That means a perception of unfair treatment, and in the Latin it means to be regarded as unworthy. Unworthy. They're unworthy. And they've done this to be sacrificed, and they will be sacrificed by fire, to immolate, to slaughter. They will be slaughtered for any purpose, for a sacrificial meal, and that's by Satan, I'm sure, to perish by eternal death, subject to eternal misery in hell. Also, when life on earth is ended by the darkness of ignorance and sin. And now he says, seek safety, to be saved by flight, to escape. This is talking about the rapture. Safely out of danger, to depart away, to flee away and vanish. When the union of the two, this body and soul, is destroyed by a reversal of my own, of his own, by a reversal of his own, by being born again of the Spirit. So there's that verse. There's that verse. A little more understanding there. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Man, I don't know if you could even see me out there. Maybe I shouldn't have set this up here. So there it is. Revelations 9:6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall not desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Okay. Much more clear understanding of that verse, right? All right, God bless you. Understand these things. And it's clear even when you read the book. If you know these things, when you study the Bible, everything will become much more clear. Far more clear. All right, God bless you. Love and respect everybody as best you can. It's going to get harder. Everything's going to get harder. People are more and more deceived. The wheat and tares are being completely separated. The sheep, the goats, all that. It's time for judgment. It's time for judgment. God's all around us all the time. He's spirit and he envelops everything. He's the creator of everything. He's just waiting on you to turn to him. That's what he's waiting for. So turn to God. All right. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.